Hi guys, I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial for you today. It's for the shoot I'm doing with MissPap. So it's more of a bronzy glam look and I posted it on my Instagram. So if you head over to my Instagram you can check out the look I'm going to do. So I'm just going to start off with my foundation. And I'm using the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation in the shade Cashew, which is my all-time favourite. It's really good for shoots because it's quite matte, so it doesn't get too shiny. It is a lot darker than my actual skin tone, but because I fake tan, I have to obviously match up my foundation. So I'm just using that with a beauty blender. And making sure to drag it down to my neck as well. Another foundation I like to use is the Becca Hourglass foundation. It's quite similar to this, but it's a stick foundation. But I do like a double wear because it's a full coverage foundation. So I'm just going to put that all over my eyes. I always do my foundation first, which is weird because I know you're going to do your eyes first, but I find if I just do my base first and then my eyes, it does work quite nicely. So that's all the foundation on. I'm going to go in with a NARS creamy concealer in the shade Custard, which is my all-time favourite shade and my all-time favourite concealer. I'm just going to put this underneath my eyes in like an upside down triangle almost, just to highlight the centre of the face. Put some down the centre of my nose, basically in all the places I want to highlight, and my cupid's bow. And I'm going to go in with my damp beauty blender again, just to blend it all out. I had previously primed my face with just a moisturiser, but I didn't show that. Dabbing it and blending it all out so it's seamless. Next I'm going to go in and do my eyebrows. So I always use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade Soft Brown, which is this one. It's got a nice little spoolie on the end. And I'm just going to brush through my eyebrows before I start to fill them in. And it's a nice thin pencil, so you can get some really nice fine strokes if you don't want that really full brow look. I'm literally just going to use really small strokes. I don't want to go in too hard because I don't want the brow to look too filled in. I still want it to look natural. I do want them a bit thicker though, so I'm going to go underneath the hairline. And above a little bit as well. Always making sure to brush through as I go along, just so there's no like build up of product anywhere. And I'm going to create the arch on the outer corner. I'm just going to extend my brow past for when my real brow is. So normally the rule of thumb is like take your eyebrow pencil and then your brow should kind of end from where your nose and your eye meet. So I do like to make my brow a little bit longer than it naturally is. And bring it in as well. Making sure to brush through as well. And onto the next brow. I do have my brows already microbladed on, so it is a lot easier as I've already got that shape. You kind of just have to, you've got that guideline there already, which is helpful. I do sometimes like to use the dip brow as well, which is like a gel pomade formula, but that does give quite a strong, heavy brow look, which, as it's daytime, I don't want my brows to be too heavy. And just going along the arch. Creating that longer tail as well. And just extending it down. Ooh. And brushing through with this spoolie. I wouldn't worry too much about like being really neat, because I always go in with a concealer and I clean up my brows underneath. So I'm going to use the NARS Creamy Concealer again, and I'm just going to place it underneath my brow just to carve it out. Just helps create a cleaner, like sharper look. And I'm going to use a flat brush, a MAC 252 brush, which is like a flat round brush, just to help carve the brow out. I'm also going to pat that all over my lid, which helps act as a primer for your eyeshadow, just to conceal any like veins or any discoloration. You want like a really nice clean base for when you go on and do your eyeshadow. Especially like in the inner corner here, you get quite a lot of like darkness or like purple tones. It's quite good to cancel them out with a concealer. I don't take a lot of products. I don't want there to be too much concealer before I put on my eyeshadow. So just a light base. I'm going underneath as well. Perfect. Next I'm going to take my Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Powder. And I'm just going to bake underneath my eyes just so I settle that concealer I did. So I'm just going to take it on my beauty blender and I'm just going to pat it underneath my eyes, just where I put the concealer, just to set it. And I'm going to leave that on there just whilst I do my eyes. And then I'm just going to swipe it off. I'm going to tap it over my eyelids as well, just so it's nice and matte, so I can go in with my eyeshadows. And they're going to go on smoothly, they're not going to go on patchy. So moving on to eyes, I'm going to highlight using my Becca Champagne Pop highlighter. And I'm going to place that in the inner corners of my eye and also underneath my brow. Definitely my favourite highlighter. Also use it on my face, just to highlight my cheekbones. And pop a bit underneath my brow bone. And then I'm going to go in with a transition shade. So I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. which is my favourite because it's got some really nice like warm shades. So I'm gonna take Raw Sienna, which is just like a bronzy shade, and I'm just gonna run it through my crease using a big fluffy brush. You don't have to be too like precise with this look because I just want it to be quite like blown out and smoky. So I'm going to take that up quite high. And I'm also going to run it underneath my lower lash line. Just like that. And just make sure to buff out the edges as well. So taking it underneath my lower lash line again. And making sure to like buff it all out so there's no like harsh edges or anything. Next I'm going to take a bit of a smaller blending brush. This is a MAC 217 brush, and I'm taking an orangey shade from the palette, and I'm just going to concentrate this more in the crease and the outer corner of the eye as well. And I'm going to take the brush that I used for the transition shade just to blend that out. These colours are so pigmented that you literally don't need much, but you have to make sure you blend them out because they are quite, yeah, they're quite pigmented. So I'm going to do the same on the other eye with my MAC 2117 brush. I'm just putting it on the outer corner of the eye and then blending it out with my fluffy brush. I'm also going to take some of that orange on my lower lash line using a smaller pencil brush. So everything I do on top I just repeat underneath. And then again blending it out with my fluffy brush. So for this look I do want to keep it quite like bronzy, so I'm going to use a rose gold pigment from MAC called Tan. I'm just going to press this onto my lid using like a flat shader brush, a MAC 239 brush. I'm just going to press this onto my actual lid. I love these pigments, they're so pigmented. I'm just going to keep it in the first half of my eye, just in the inner corner. I'm not going to go right the way along because I don't want to go over the orange that we did on the outer corner. And I'm just going to blend the edges. So I'm going to go and do a wing liner now just to finish it off before I put my lashes on. And I'm going to use my Stila. No, I'm going to use a gel liner and a angled liner brush. I'm just going to make a thin line and wing it out a little bit. I do want to keep it quite thick because it's quite a black gel liner. I don't want it to be too heavy. And I want to wing it out a little bit as well. This gel liner is like super black. This is the Inkblot gel liner in number 11, I think it is. Oh, 77. Super black and really waterproof as well. I always use it in the like waterline because it just doesn't move. I have to work quite quickly with this gel liner because it dries really quick. And I'm going to pop some in my waterline as well. Sometimes I'd use like a black or a brown or like a gold or something, but I do like using black gel liner because it's so dark. So I'm ready to put lashes on now. I'm going to use my Iconic lashes. These only just came out the other day, but they're the Iconic lashes in, I can't remember what style they're in, but they're really nice and wispy. Then a really nice and fluffy. So I'm just going to put that on with some duo glue. Going to brush the glue on and leave it to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit just for it to dry. And I like to cut them as well just so they're not poking my eye or anything. And whilst I wait for my lashes to dry, I'm just going to finish off my face. So I'm actually going to go in with a bit of mascara. This one's from Barry M. I always put mascara on before my lashes just because I want them to be all really black so you can't see any lash or like skin when your lashes are on. So I'm just going to swipe off the powder that I put on underneath. It's kind of like set into the skin now, so it's not as like white as when we first put it on. And then I'm going to take a little bit more of the powder just to powder the rest of my face, on my chin. And other places. I'm going to use an angled brush to contour, and I use the Topshop bronzer in Mohawk, which is quite similar to the Hoola bronzer by Benefit. It's quite an ashy shade, so it's quite nice to contour with. It's not too orangey or anything. And I'm just going to put it in the hollows of my cheeks. Underneath my jawline. And a little bit on my hairline, just run it along the hairline. On my chin. And a little bit along the hairline. And next I'm going to contour my nose. I literally can't do my makeup without contouring my nose. I feel like it just like brings it all together because you've contoured the outsides of your face. To contour like your nose just like makes everything tie in together. I'm just going to go along the side of my nose, making sure to blend it so there's no like obvious lines. There's nothing worse than a really obvious nose contour. I'm just going to use a small brush as I go just to blend it. Using the same bronzer that I used to contour my cheekbones. Just going to go along the side and underneath a little bit as well. I like to connect it to the eyebrow. And then just blending it out with this brush I used to powder with. So I'm just going to put my eyelashes on because the glue should be really tacky now. I do like to wait like a good few minutes just so the glue I use is better when it's really like dry. So I'm just going to pop them on. It's so much easier when the glue is like semi-dry because then they just stick on instantly. There's no like sliding around, or makes it really easy to stick down. Put the yellow one on. I just like to place it where it will go, and then I like to pull the corners down just to make sure they're properly stuck. And then I'm gonna highlight my face using the same highlighter I used to highlight the inner corner of my eyes, the Becca Champagne Pop. I'm using on a Zoeva face focus brush. I'm just gonna put it on the tops of my cheekbones, a little bit on the top of my eyebrow. My Cupid's bow, and I'm also going to do a bit on my nose, but I'm going to use a smaller pencil brush. I'm just going to put a bit on the tip and then down the centre. Next I'm going to go in with some blusher. And I'm going to use Charlotte Tilbury's blusher in First Love. This just blends the contour and the highlighter together, it's quite nice. Just to blend it all together. And then I'm going to move on to lips. For lips, my favourite combination is MAC Morning Coffee Lip Liner and Charlotte Tilbury's lipstick in Kim KW. I like to fill my whole lip in with the lip liner first. And then I go in with my lipstick. I'm obsessed with this packaging. It's really cute, like rose gold. I'm just going to pop that on over the lip liner. I like to just pat it in and just blends it nicely into the lip liner. And that is it. Yeah, normally I would just finish it off with a setting spray, but I forgot to bring it, so it will last all day anyway because the double wear is super long wearing. But yeah, this is the makeup look for the shoot today.